He's taken another one and another, and Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab. He's the right hand, another right hand, and he goes down. Oh my goodness!
The dream is made real. Ricky Hatton rocks the world with a truly stunning win over a modern legend. He is the champion of the world.
Yo, we're back again. Raps on TV, you know what it is. It's Tuesday, here to talk about the best things in boxing, and it's been a busy day. The heavyweight championship is kicked off. Obviously, the men like Joshua and Joseph Parker got together in London to talk about what we can expect to see on March 31st or 31 March, as they like to call it. But I'm going to delve into that and dive and talk about all things boxing. So, see somebody's on the line. Is that Paul? You, Paul?
It is, yeah.
How you doing, mate? You well?
Yeah, I'm well, are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, thanks. Not bad. So it's been a entertaining day. A little bit of boxing to talk about this weekend. Obviously, we've got Errol Spence, who's also going to be fighting. So we should be looking forward to seeing that. What's your what? You get any chance? Have you had a chance to look at any footage of the Joshua Parker press conference?
Yeah, I've watched little snippets. I didn't watch it all because I think sometimes Joshua can bore you a bit, but I think the most entertaining bit of it is the promoters going at each other.
Yeah.
They're both sat side by side in the middle and just had a little bicker between themselves, which I think it's a bit bad of them because it's taking the focus away from the boxers, isn't it? They want to hear from the boxers.
I mean, I think clearly we're into the realms of promoters trying to sell themselves and outbid themselves, and you know, even though it is cheesy and Higgins isn't, I doubt Higgins is going to be a long-term player, but I think it shows that boxing is growing because we're also taking an interest in the promoters. I think Higgins didn't take the bait today, whether it was because he was scared or whether he wants to do it on his own terms, who knows. But yeah, I was surprised to say the least. Do you remember when he arranged that press conference to highlight Joshua's flaws? He didn't have that kind of arrogance today.
I don't think he'd had a drink, mate, that's why.
But a very good point. But I'm sure, you know, as it kicks on, we're going to see more about that. And I mean, what did you take? And I know you mentioned, you know, Joshua's tone. What was your thoughts on his approach, on his aura, on his attitude?
He seemed to, what he talked about and what he added into the conversation, like about when he'd been knocked down, how he'd spent time in a police cell that morning, got out of the police cell, and then went and sparred David Price, got knocked down. I think he's trying to add a bit of spice into not his tone or anything, but just his persona as a person. He's trying to let people know that he has had a bad past. He's built his fan club up now by being like role model type, like Eddie Hearn used to say. But now he's starting to let a few bits go where he's getting tweets where he's having a go at people, like calling Tyson Fury fat boy and having a go at Cook. Yes, but now we're seeing a bit more of a darker side to him. But it still just feels like it's forced though. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I think I know what you mean. I think I have to say, for me, when I saw the press conference, I was pleased that he spoke a bit about, you know, what happened in terms of him going to the European Championships. Rob McCracken going into the detail of the volume of fights, you know, the amount of fights he had in that tournament compared to the amount of fights that he had in the 4 months previously. It showed a little bit about him, I guess, before the Olympics. I guess with Joshua, what he's got to do is, there's been so much of the good boy, clean boy image that, you know, trying to maybe talk about the past is how often does he do that? It's good for us to see, and I think there hasn't been enough balance, and I think that's probably why people kind of say, yeah, everything's forced, because I think at one point we can appreciate there's a business side to this. You know, there is the, the business side to it. I just want to see him in the big fights, and I think if they get that Wilder fight made this year, I think that's great. So I definitely kind of agree with you that he's trying to reveal a bit more to him, and I think I think is good because we have criticised him, and maybe he wanted to do it in a position of security. I mean, it's an interesting one, but I still say Graham Norton's is not the right look. I think Raps on TV is a much better platform, if you ask me. So that's definitely going to be an interesting thing. And how do you see that fight? I mean, in the press conference, Higgins and Parker both spoke about fast hands and a strong chin. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, he's got that Maori blood in him, hasn't he? And they don't go down easy. So people thinking that Joshua's going to come in and wipe him out, I reckon they're mistaken. You only have to look back at one of the only other ones we can pay reference to is David Tua. He was an absolute animal and had the chin of granite.
Yeah.
If Parker's just got half of the chin that he has, it's going to make for an interesting fight because he does have fast hands. I think he has got faster hands than Joshua. He just doesn't hit as hard as Joshua does. And
I mean, and that's the thing, and I that's my point in terms of, the speed is probably comparable. It's not, he's not slow in comparison, but I just don't think he hurts people enough. I think his record kind of shows that. If you ask me, if you got to think about, the time the guy that Eubank fought. For that pay-per-view fight again, Maori chap, Quinlan, he was tough as nails, and he took a lot of punishment from Eubank. So I think that's where, for me, the interesting side comes from it. But if I'm being honest, I don't really see him getting next to Joshua. I think, if we're talking about a semi-final of heavyweights, I do see him being the weakest out of Wilder, Fury, and Joshua. And I think what's going to surprise him is him not being able to get close to Joshua and taking those powerful shots. So it might just be a beating. I don't know. Have we seen enough of Parker to say he's got a granite chin? Has he faced enough competition for us to say that? I don't think so.
I don't think he's faced the hard hitters. He's faced people like Takam, Ruiz, Old Borfer. It's just generally people like that who he's faced, and he has looked good in some of his earlier fights, knocking people out, but against low-level opposition. You put him on the world level, and we saw with Fury, he struggled to adapt.
Exactly.
But that was an awkward style to face. Joshua's not going to be as much on the back foot, but is he going to have the strength and power against a naturally bigger bloke in Joshua? And
also, the accuracy of his punches. From what I've seen of Parker, again, I haven't studied his career extensively, but from the fights I've seen, especially since he's been world champion, and I've watched the Takam fight back, to me, he's not that much. He's not a highly accurate puncher. I think he's fast. I think but again, it's the quality of the opponents, and I think the performance he's put up against them, for me, it doesn't say that he's going to be a massive challenge to Joshua. To if I'm being honest, when I see the level of we're always going to go back to the Klitschko fight, but if you just think about that, if this is a fight that maybe makes Joshua train that 5% harder, be a bit more focused, that extra bit. I think this might be one because there's a lot at stake. This is a chance to unify another division. So, I can't see him really causing Joshua problems. I can't.
He does look a lot slimmer. AJ does look a lot slimmer already.
Yeah.
I think he's led from the Vladimir fight that he can't carry as much bulk, and he does look like he's took a bit of that bulk off.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a massive plus for him in this fight because he's going to be able to fight longer. He's going to be able to throw more punches without gassing as much because he's not got the mass taking up all his oxygen when he's doing that.
Definitely. So what, Paul? There's a couple of guys on the line. I'm gonna switch switch it up. But stay on the line. I'm going to obviously come back to you. We've got the Spence Jr. and obviously the announcement of Quigg versus Valdez. So I'll come back to you and we can discuss that in a bit more detail.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, cheers, man. Cheers, appreciate that. So yeah, we're going out to 985. I can see that's Mr. Appiah. 985. What's good?
How was doing, Coach?
Yeah, I'm doing, mate. I'm doing well, mate. You good?
Yeah, all good. All good.
Thanks for calling in, mate. So, what's on your mind? You've been seeing this new. You seen this news about Joshua? What's on your?
Yeah, I haven't. Was there a press conference today or something you say?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I didn't see that, but all I can say that fight's on the 31st of March, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
All I can say, Coach, is for me, there's only one winner, mate.
Yeah.
There's only one winner. Yeah, there's only one winner. Joshua, comprehensively, really, only one winner. And, yeah.
What do you think of Parker? I mean, in terms of strengths, or what's the real weakness you see in him?
I just think, listen, he stands no chance, mate. He just, I don't see anything. I don't see anything in Parker that can convince me to beat Joshua. I just don't see it. I mean, Tyson Fury, him now against Joshua, I think Tyson Fury can school Joshua all day. But Parker, no chance, mate. Nah.
Doesn't have the ring IQ, doesn't have the power.
He doesn't have the. I mean, if he had a little ring IQ like a Tyson Fury, yeah, obviously, you know, it's a ball game then, but there's only one winner. Only one winner, mate.
Nice. All right.
Only one winner.
What else is on your mind, man?
Yeah. The Spence fight Saturday. Again, I think Spence will win. I think Spence is a good fighter. I really do think he could become big. Really do. Like, move up in weights and all that. Yeah. So, yeah. That's another win there, really.
That's going to be I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a good fight. Potentially, I think it's a tough fight. In terms of Peterson is kind of getting written off, but yeah, the deep down, I think when you see what Spence can do and what he's done, I think it is going to be Spence that takes the victory on that one. You're going to watch that? That's on Box Nation.
Yeah, definitely going to watch that. I mean, who do you think Spence should fight next? Like, could you? A fight I would like to see is the Spence Furman.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
That's a fight I would like. That's a fight I would love to see.
Yeah.
In the future, maybe.
But do you think?
Down the line.
I think a lot of us would like to see that. I feel like Spence doesn't. Thurman doesn't really want that fight.
Okay.
Yeah, he's. I mean, I'm not going to say he's making excuses, but you know, he did say that once a belt comes up, there's they should have that fight. Now he seems to be slightly backtracking, but yeah, let's see. Let's hope I don't think that fight will get made this year, with his injury and so forth. Coming back from his injury, I don't believe that will be a fight that will be made this year. But we'll see.
Okay, one more thing. I think Khan is trying to tweak himself out. Obviously, I don't know the latest developments. I've been a bit busy last couple of days, but I think Khan is trying to tweak himself out in fighting Kell Brook by he fucking full well knows that Kell Brook is going up to 154.
Yeah.
He fucking full well knows, and he keeps saying, "Well, I'm going to fight at 147 and see how it goes. Fuck off. You don't want the fight. You're bottling it. You see where I'm coming from?
That's the fight you want to see made, yeah?
Of course I want to see that, mate. Of course I do. Just like everybody up and down the country.
The thing is, I agree with you. You know what the crazy thing about that fight is, Amir has obviously bulked up, so there could be definitely a compromise or catch weight. And obviously, I think for Brook, I think he's going to be too comfortable with that weight in terms of he's not going to want to train and go through what he does to lose the extra pounds to get down to 147. So if they could come to a compromise, neither of them have a belt. I definitely think it's something that should happen. Will it happen? I don't know. There's talks that Chris Van Heerden might be the fighter that comes in for the date in Liverpool. I forgot what date that is, but that could be the option. I mean, it's a
Sometime in April,
sometime in April, exactly. It's a 3-fight deal. So listen, anything's possible. I won't lie. I think they're going to try and throw Pacquiao's name into that because with Khan, I just don't know what kind of a performance he's going to give to really say he deserves a shot at Errol Spence Jr., Keith Thurman. I mean, potentially he could get Jeff Horn if they're going to put some money up for that. But I think that's a tough fight for him because Jeff Horn is very strong.
He loses all them names you've mentioned. He loses to every single one of them, though, doesn't he? Really?
Really, yeah, because they've got his.
In my opinion, yeah.
And it's not that he loses because he gets outboxed. He loses because, unfortunately, if they set traps, it only takes 2 big punches to kind of like destabilize him, and the opportunity to win is there. So, it's and 147 isn't his natural weight either. So, yeah, those guys, most of them, they're all natural 147. So they're hard hitters, they're strong. We're gonna have to do a lot to knock them out, and that's what he really needs to do. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does. So I look forward to that. So listen, dear, I'm going to move on, but I appreciate you calling in. Stay on the line.
No way.
And then, no problem as always, mate. Cheers, thank you.
All right.
Cheers, thanks.
Take care, bye-bye.
Take care, bye. So we're going to move out to 251. Then that's Dwayne below the belt.
Yeah.
Yes, what's going on, bro? You cool?
Yeah, not too bad, man. The caller before me is amazing, man. He's top quality, man.
That's D, mate. Trust me, that's D, man. The passion in. He's a big boxing fan like all of us, so.
Proper legit.
How are you though? You good?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Just keep my eye on the press conference and the latest developments today.
What was your thoughts?
Good to see. I don't know if anybody noticed in the stare down, I think Joseph Parker looked nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked a bit nervous, man.
Yeah. What?
His promoter's talking.
Yeah.
But his promoter's not the one that's got to put the gloves on, you know?
Yep. And I think there's a lot of that, and the promoter knows that. You know, I don't know if you heard earlier that I was saying the David Higgins did the press conference in New Zealand where they got the New Zealand media to attend, and basically he's tried to expose Joshua's flaws. None of that today.
Right.
I agree with you. Even in the press conference, again, these are all small intangibles, but it's things us fans we notice. And even when Joshua was talking, I was looking at Parker's demeanour, and it was like a boy. I feel that they've come into this like a little bit of the Charles Martin where they're getting paid big and they're grateful for the opportunity. He's not. I can't see him trying to talk big. He's going to come in to do his best, but I just don't think it's going to be good enough.
Yeah, I think that belt, he's just basically sold his belt to the highest bidder. And like you said, I think as an athlete, he's going to try his best, but I don't like to say out of his depth or whatever, but I just think the occasion's probably going to be too big for him. Joshua's no walkover. I mean, he's vulnerable, but everyone's got their vulnerabilities in the sport. Everyone has a weakness and a strength. I just think Joshua comes in with the motivation to unify, put on a great performance, and plus Joshua seems like a proud man. I think he's kind of pissed at the backlash and the that he got from his last event in Cardiff. So I think he's going to really go in with a point to prove. Good luck to Parker.
No.
Definitely.
And I mean, what you just touched on, I think you're right there, and I think that's going to again could change his attitude and mentality that somebody's coming with a belt. No matter what, Klitschko was a huge name and a huge notch on his record. Takam wasn't really coming with anything. Even Pulev wasn't really bringing anything, but Parker is bringing something. So you would say by nature of being a human being, he's going to put a bit more effort into this opponent. So yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if I see this fight finished in 6 rounds. If I'm being totally honest, And I think the mentality is going to be interesting. And I hope, I hope that, we get to see a bit more of the personality. I mean, what did you think about Joshua talking about, him being arrested and going to prison and McCracken disciplining him by showing him the ways of international boxing, and he needs to be, focused and understand what opportunity is in front of him. What did you think of that?
I think it was good to see that Joshua was becoming more comfortable as a champion and more comfortable to just speak about the negatives or the blows that he's had in life, because I think he should embrace all of that. That's what made him who he is today. I don't think he should shy away from ever talking about it. It was pretty good to see him touch on it. I also watched an interview of him on IFL. I don't know if you guys saw it yet. And he done some impression of Wilder, and that it made me laugh my head off.
I want to check that.
Did you see that?
No, I haven't seen that. I'm going to check that. I'm going to look for that though.
Check that out, man. That's the funniest bit of the entire interview. Maybe laugh. You never normally see Joshua like that, but I think he's tired of Parker, Fury, and Wilder just constantly taking shots at him, and he seems like he's, with those three in particular, I think he's going to go in the room with a totally different attitude, almost like how he felt leading up to the Dillian White fight, where it was more like, I really want to go and wrap him up. The only thing is, with that said though, is hopefully he still learns from that experience and doesn't get too emotionally involved and get caught slipping,
And that's the thing, and I was going to say, well, that is going to be an interesting kind of hurdle for him to prove. People are going to criticise, that's the game, and they're going to look out, well, how does he fight when something, it's a bit more than a belt, there's a little bit of, it's a bit personal. How does he react to that? Does he stay composed? I do think, for me, what I'm looking forward to seeing in this fight is probably the slight improvements that he should be working on. So, yeah, I think, make the movement. Joseph Parker has got decent, he has got good movement. Again, but again, I think also the size difference potentially helps him in that, because he's not a big, I know he weighs, but if when you looked at the side, the head to head, and you could see that he wasn't, a big commanding heavyweight the way Joshua Wilder and even Fury to an extent is. So, it'll be interesting. The tactics. What would you say Joshua's tactics for that game, for that fight should be?
Well, I think Joshua should just go in and show no respect. The Joshua that fought Molina, or the Joshua that fought, I always forget the guy's real name, but the Kingpin, the American guy, that Joshua wraps up nearly everybody.
Yeah.
Because he just went in there, hand speed, 4 to 5 hit combos, no one's standing up to that. But if he kind of takes his time and all of this stuff, then he could get caught. Because Parker's not like a walkover either. But I just think if Joshua, even with Klitschko, and Joshua said it himself in interviews after, he said, you know what, I should have just gone in there and just put it on him straight away. Why did I do all of that stuff? And that's what I hope Joshua's learned. Just be confident. And if you go in there and just put the attack straight on, put the pressure straight on, the opponent will crumble. Look what he's done to Molina. He just wrecked him. And I know some people say, Molina's rubbish, blah, blah, blah. But let's not forget, Molina gave Wilder a tough night.
Exactly. He wobbled him. So
he's devoured him.
Exactly. So,
that's the kind of part, Joshua, that needs to come out.
Yeah, and I think hopefully we get to see that. So obviously you heard Dillian White versus Lucas Brown's been made. I think that's early in March or late March 24th maybe. Down at the O2. What's your thoughts on that fight?
Good fight. Should be a good build up. I hope we see more explosiveness in the fight. That's the one thing I'm looking forward to seeing. If the fight will match the build up, But yeah, it's good to see. And also, I heard in the media scrum after this press conference today that Joshua's still interested in fighting Dillian White again. So you could have a situation where Joshua beats Parker and Wilder keeps talking this nonsense about 50-50. He might end up fighting White if White gets through this fight,
Yeah,
White just holds out. He's mandatory for WBC now, isn't he, really?
And so that's the only thing. I to be honest, I do think I wouldn't be surprised if that would be a fight. Maybe next year. I definitely think those guys will get it on again. In my mind, I can't see that fight happening before the Wilder fight, because I think if Dillian White, I see him beating Lucas Brown. I do not think Lucas Brown is that good. I know he's got a bit of power, but I think Dillian White should be a bit smart. Can be a bit smart for him, and I think he's just going to try to slog it out, Lucas Brown. But for me, I think he's going to want to take that Wilder opportunity. I think he steps into that position to be mandatory. I can't see how he's going to let that go. I can see him pressuring Eddie Hearn to make the fight, and I can honestly see if Wilder, as you say, if he stubbornly holds out for 50-50, then he's going to be taking up other options to just put names on his belt. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder and I really wouldn't be surprised if Wilder and White happens at the end of this year either. So we'll see. There's talk about Fury. Fury's supposed to be coming back in April, so hopefully that deal gets done. And like I said, for me, 2018 will be the year of heavyweights.
Yeah, it's looking up. And can I say one more thing as well, actually?
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking when I was watching this press conference is I'd love to see a press conference with Fury and Joshua, man. That is the press conference to see.
I mean, to be fair, you never know, because you heard that Parker saying Fury may walk him into the ring. So if he's thinking of anything along those lines, I would not be surprised if he gets him in and around some of the press conferences, at least in the build-up to fight week. They're gonna cross paths, and that's the thing. And I mean, it depends on how these guys really want to look at it. But yeah, to be honest, that would be an interesting game plan, because I don't care what anyone says. If Fury is in Cardiff, giving it loads, there's no way Joshua's going to be able to mentally ignore that. So it either puts more pressure on Parker, or it does Parker a favour. But yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. And before you go, let me just ask you, the man Spence Jr. is fighting this weekend.
That's right.
What's your?
I think it's Spence Jr.'s time right now. I think Lamont. I mean, I was watching something on YouTube the other day when he fought Amir Khan. That was ages ago. Yeah. I think he's just there now. If you know what I mean. I can't see him beating Spence. He's just a decent name for Spence to take out. I don't see him. He's a good boxer, but I mean, come on, man. That Amir Khan at 140.
That's what I'm saying.
Before Amir Khan even fought Danny Garcia.
That's it.
I just think it's just a name, TBC almost.
And he didn't win that even the Amir Khan fight. He didn't really win that. For me, there was standard controversial, and I don't think he won that fight really.
Exactly.
And obviously we know what happened leading up to the rematch. So yeah, so that should be that's going to be interesting. So okay, so you're gonna try and check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I heard you say to the other callers, it's going to be on Box Nation, so I'll be tuning in. Definitely going to watch it just for the sake of watching it and seeing where Spence is at. Because you hear all the rumours about how great he is behind the scenes, but we haven't really seen him perform on a high level, really, other than fighting Kell Brook. Most of the fighters that he fought before, you expected him to win anyway, and I do again expect him to win this one. I think with Spence, it's going to be all about the unification fights, or at least a Spence v Danny Garcia, like an opponent that's really coming in there with some real potential to win. I don't really see Lamont beating Spence at all, but I'll still watch it just to see how Spence performs.
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I think Spence is a great prospect. I think he's going to be I think he beats Thurman. I think he beats most people that stand in his way at 147. I could even see him going up to 154. I know, for me, I do think, though everyone recognises Brook as his biggest achievement, I still think, the fights before that, the way he kind of took those guys out once he smelt blood, I think, I like the way he's vicious like that, and he's got a strong mindset. So I like it. I like the way he kind of manages himself, but I like the way he fights in the ring. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Is it possible if I could slip one question into you then, Carlos?
Yeah, no problem.
What do you think about Spence versus Crawford?
Man, I think Spence wins, Spence Jr. wins.
Yeah.
I know everyone thinks... you know why? I'll be honest, because I think Crawford is a good fighter as well. We all know he's a top quality, and it comes a point. But I see Spencer, if I'm being honest, as the same way. To me, I see them as being equal. But I think him stepping up against somebody like Spence, I just see it's too much for him. I think Spence Jr.'s got the ring IQ. He can wait and sit patiently. He can counter well. Obviously, we know he'll go to the body. I think you've got to be powerful to kind of hurt him, because we haven't really seen him being hurt. Yeah, we've seen Kell Brook throw a few shots, but not really been hurt, in my opinion. So I think he beats. That's just my opinion. I think he beats Crawford. I don't think it's any shame either for Crawford to even lose to Spence Jr. But I think Crawford. I think Spence Jr. beats Thurman. The fights I've seen him in, I've been really impressed. He's got good intelligence. Obviously, we know he's a southpaw, good pedigree, Olympic. So, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
So let's hope that fight gets made, because let's hope. I mean, who do you think?
I think Crawford maybe wins on points.
Yeah.
Because I think if he can hang in there with Spence, it's possible to beat him on points. Because even with Kell Brook, before it got to where it got to, Kell Brook was doing pretty well, man, and he didn't do anything necessarily amazing, but he was holding his own. But once he started feeling that damage, that's why I think Crawford's skills was. Because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't even seen Crawford look too troubled in a fight before. He always looks very comfortable. He always seems to have it under control, know what he's doing. I think the biggest obstacle for Crawford will be the going up in weight, because we all know that Spence is quite big for 147. So if he loses, maybe he loses based on size and weight, but ring IQ and boxing skills, I think Crawford's the guy.
I mean, I definitely agree with you in terms of the way you rate Crawford. I'm the same. I would say go back and check Crawford versus Gamboa. Crawford won that fight, and he stopped him. Well, that was for me one of the few fights you saw like there was an inch. If somebody with a bit more height, reach advantage and power could take advantage of, and that's where I think Spence, he can work on that. And with the Brook fight, it is for me. It was the body. I think he was working the body so much that he did take some shots up top, but after a while, Brook was finished. So I look forward to seeing that. So I'm going to move on to another caller just so we share out. But I appreciate the love, appreciate you calling in. Always Below the Belt TV, doing big things. We've got to get a date for you guys to come back in. So let's make that happen soon, bro.
No, thanks, man. Much appreciated.
No problem.
All day long, man.
Bless up, man. Bless. Take it easy. Take it easy. Cheers. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye. Yes, and we're moving on now to Michael Angelo Serra.
No, it's Michelangelo Serra.
How you doing, Michael? You well?
Hello.
Yes. Can you hear? Hello, Michael. Can you hear me?
It's Michelangelo Serra. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. My show's doing good. My show, can I just say, is on a Thursday night. It's not on a Tuesday night like you said last week. It's
Apologies.
On a Thursday night.
Apologies.
That's okay. It's no problem. It's going okay. I'm getting some good feedback. Anyhow,
Good.
let's talk about your show firstly. This weekend we've got the Errol Spence versus Lamont Peterson fight. How do you see that one panning out yourself? I mean, Peterson, is he a little bit old in the tooth now?
I don't know if necessarily old in the tooth. I think he has got good work ethic, but I just think, again, it's the strength. I think Spence is going to have the strength to, push him off and not allow Peterson's efforts to really trouble him, if I'm being honest. So, I see Spence kind of getting an early foothold of in the fight and, just punishing him with body shots and that straight left to the head. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen I've seen Lamont Peterson. I see him when he boxed Amir Khan.
Yep.
I've only seen him fight once, and I've also seen, obviously, Errol Spence against Kell Brook.
Mm-hmm.
I think Spence, he's the star, and I think he's going to be a little bit too fresh for Peterson, and I think he'll possibly carve out a late stoppage or points decision. By the way, is that on Sky Sports or Box Nation?
That's on Box Nation. And I love that word you use, fresh. I think that's the best way to put it. I think he is too fresh for Peterson. Peterson is a good fighter, but yeah.
We can draw comparisons on the fight from 1987. Lloyd Hunnigan, our own Lloyd Hunnigan from Bermondsey, the undisputed. Well, he was actually he wasn't the undisputed at the time. He was just the WBC and IBF because he trashed the WBA belt, a la Riddick Bowe, with his WBC. But he took on a guy called Johnny Bumpus, Bump City, and Bumpus was a WBA light welterweight champion, former at the time WBA champion, and he was moving up in weight, and it was. I mean, Hunnigan was fancy to do it, and but he did the job early. Hunnigan did, and the thing with that fight, the Hunnigan, can I just say, maybe some of your older viewers will remember this. As I say, it's over 31 years ago nearly.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
and that was actually, so if you can YouTube that or something, or get a copy of that, watch what I mean. I mean, that is, there was quite a lot of controversy because of that.
Yeah.
But, also, this fight now, Anthony Joshua up to the heavyweights, we're going up a few weights now. He's now taking on Parker. That's March the 31st. A lot of people, they're counting out Parker. But I tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if there's an upset on the cards. I really wouldn't be. You know, I mean, he's been tested in the chin department, Parker. Joshua has, but Joshua's been on the floor and he's been wobbled at numerous occasions. This guy seems to bring a rock solid chin to the fight. I mean, I know styles make fights, but I don't know. I'd love to see Joshua win, and then I'd love to see him take out Deontay Wilder, because Wilder, I think he made a comment about having a body on his record against Stiverne, the last fight, and comments like that are not welcome in this sport. We've had enough tragedies in boxing.
Yeah, that is very true.
I mean, he is the world heavyweight champion, a version of the WBC. But when you are a world heavyweight champion, you put the game in a good light. You know,
Yeah.
You don't go around saying things like that. It was a disgusting remark. And you know, what can you do? I mean, you know.
I mean, so in terms of, I have to say, so I want to ask, because I have to say, so for me, I'll ask you this, with Parker, for me, I don't think his chin has been tested, as you said, but I also don't think he destroys chins in the ways that, you know, against really credible opponents, that in the way that they would like us to believe. You know, when I look back at some of the footage that I have seen on YouTube, it's kind of like, okay, you're hitting them, you do have speed, I'll give you that, but where's the damage really being done? If you just what I mean, and that's where I think Joshua's just going to have the advantage over him.
Well, the tangibles. Sorry to interrupt. The tangibles are there. I mean, the tangibles are there. I mean, look at Klitschko. He was hardly the Ernie Shavers. You know, he's not the biggest. He's not the biggest of punchers, Klitschko. Yeah, he had him in dire straits, and I think it was the 6th round when he had him over. When he had Joshua was almost gone. I mean, let's pick the big box, shall we, for Joshua's fighting art. I mean, there's no way you cannot say the guy's not got the art of a champion. He
Exactly.
has, but it's the chin department, and that's what worries me. The thing is with Wilder, if he comes through the Parker, he's got to come through Parker first. The Wilder fight, he's a world heavyweight WBC champion, you know. But the thing is with Wilder, he is, as his name states, wild.
Yeah.
You know, he is wild. I mean, the way he throws them cricket balls, he's getting a lot of leverage.
For a fine connoisseur like yourself, Michael, I know that does not please you. But all right, let me ask you this though. You know, we talk about chin and we talk about Joshua's chin, and
I will just get. Yeah,
let me just quickly say this to you. We talk about, like, again, the chin. Like, Joshua's chin isn't like Amir Khan's chin, and I got slated for maybe embarrassing Khan, which I don't think I did. But for me, Joshua, I don't see it like he's got a chin the way Khan has. Do you see what I mean? Where he gets hit.
It takes a better punch.
That's what, I think that says. I do think that says a lot about a fighter.
Of course.
So sorry, carry on. What was it? Sorry.
Well, Wilder, he throws those cricket balls, and the thing is, Wilder, I don't think he's ever been floored as a pro, but I saw a amateur clip of him in one of his amateur fights, and he got he got dropped, and he got badly, and I mean badly wobbled.
I mean, even Molina, I don't know if it's the Molina fight and Ariola, so there's been fights where we've seen him get wobbled, even in the pros. And
you know, his next fight is against this Carlos Ortiz. I mean, I've seen Ortiz, and he's a little bit inconsistent for myself.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a good way of saying it.
I think one fight, I don't know, did he box over here?
Yep,
Ortiz,
he didn't. He fought in Monaco, and no, he did. So you're right. And Dave Allen, he fought Dave Allen over here as well. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, the division is wide open, even like domestically speaking. I mean, Dave Allen he's an okay fighter, but he's nothing special. And when he was on his boxing, I can't remember his boxing. I think he was an import from Romania or somewhere. And the way they were talking about him, the Sky commentary team, not knocking them, but they were wealth of knowledge. They are, they do a great. But the way they was talking about his British championship class, and I just thought no. And then he boxed on the Kell Brook Errol Spence show.
Yeah, and then he lost.
And he did not perform. He did not perform. And and I don't know what's happening with the rematch now. Any news on David Ayan Bellew?
No, I mean, it's been quiet. So to be honest, that's not a good thing. But you never know. I think everybody's half expecting David Haye to bring his doctor's note, if we're being fair. So no news on that. To be fair, it is a while away because we're talking about May. So I guess that kind of shows how much time he's got. Yeah, it's May. It's not March. It's May.
You know, the thing is, sorry to interrupt again. The thing is, with that fight, you know what I mean? They get back into the ring in May. I mean, Bellew, for example, both of them, they've been out of the ring over like 14 months. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Bellew could have took a date in December 17th, which was originally slotted for their second fight, the rematch. And I would have loved to have seen him fight that Dylan White, because White is a fringe. You know, he is a world class fighter. I think White. You know, the chop we gave Joshua, I think he's definitely up there, and he should be. You know, obviously he's got a big fight coming up. I mean, he could gate crash the world rankings. Another big name coming up in the British on the domestic scene is a guy called Daniel Dubois.
I mean,
Southern area champion. I've never seen him fight, but
are you joking? Oh, Michael. That's all right, Michael. And don't take this as an insult, but as much as history is good, you need to get with the present, mate. Dubois has got some. I'm not gonna lie, he's got some good knockouts. He had a knockout against.
Can I just say something? I don't have Box Nation, and I don't know if these fights are featured exclusively on Box Nation. Oh, I am with the present. Don't worry, I'm doing this show.
Listen,
now I'm doing on your show.
So you've got to make sure that you're checking our Facebook page, because he would have been uploaded, but he fought a guy. South London heavyweight, and I mean the way he finished him, brutal. So yeah, he's definitely somebody to look out for. So listen, Michael, I'm going to move on to another caller, but listen, appreciate you calling out. So do you want to just tell the listeners the date and time of your show?
Well, the second, I mean, you can find my show on Michelangelo Serra on Facebook, and the next show is January the 26th. That's the second show. It was a bit amateurish, it was a bit raw, but it was my first episode. I was bloody tired that day, pardon my French.
Don't worry, you've got to start somewhere, mate.
Yeah, of course, and this is the thing, but as I say, we're going to work side by side with Raps on TV, but as I say, that's why I'm doing it a different day. I'm not way competing with you guys. I've got loyalty. I love you guys, and as I say, you know, we'll see where my show goes, but you know, what's happening with Enam? He's staying with your show, isn't he?
Yes, yeah, and I'm still here. He's just a bit busy with quite a few other commitments. You know how it goes, so he's still around.
It's a shame to do a year's thing, and you know, you just decide, you know, you just got to work things out, organise things, you know. But,
exactly.
But there you go. But
No
anyway,
problem.
I'll speak next week.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Cheers. All the best. Bye bye.
care.
So Paul, coming back to you, mate. How you doing, fella? You well?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And so let me
Grafting the way out there.
say again.
Just grafting the way out there, sat on my backside.
That's what I like to hear. So you know, so we got Quigg versus Valdez. That was announced. What's your thoughts on that fight?
Well, since Quigg left Joe Gallagher and gone to Freddie Roach, I've seen no improvements on the couple of fights he's had since he went to Roach. He's gone from a coach that doesn't really teach defence to a coach that doesn't really teach defence.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's going to help him against Valdez, because Valdez is high work rate, high volume, and he'll be there for the full 12 if he needs to be.
I mean, I don't even think he'll want to be. Sorry, mate.
That's right.
No. I was just gonna quickly say, I don't. Valdez to me is I see him as being a quite vicious fighter.
Yeah, he's got that spike in him. He's got spike in him, and I just don't think Quigg's on that. He might be world level, but I think Valdez is just a step above him, along with Bampton, Santa Cruz, a couple of other featherweights. I just can't see Quigg being able to negate what Valdez can do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Dillian White, Lucas Brown, what's your thoughts on that?
It's quite an interesting one, to be honest, because I know one punch power. Lucas Brown's probably up there with most of them in the division. It's just the rest to go with it. Whereas Dillian White, he's lacking that one punch power, but he has improved his boxing ability, and he just doesn't seem to be able to get the fight to arms. he's one of them who's low reward, high risk. Would you want to lose to Dylan White and balls up your chances of getting a world title shot?
Yeah.
It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, and
he's got a high ranking, and Lucas Brown needs to get back in the ranking, so that's why he's.
I mean, yeah, I definitely think it's if you think about it, it's really the first time he's headlined an arena or venue since the Joshua fight, and I think we know Joshua was probably the bigger percentage of making that venue be a selection. Yeah, I don't know. With White, it's an interesting one because I think, he's got to take this fight. I think he's got to win. I don't think he needs to look impressive, but I think it should. If he can, then I think that's obviously great. That's better. But I think he's gonna demand this Wilder opportunity. And do you know what? I can kind of see it happening.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me because I can't see. You know what? I don't see Anthony Joshua fighting Wilder next because of the 50-50 demand thing.
Yeah.
I think then, especially if he's got 3 out of 4 belts. So what's Wilder's next best option? It's not going to be Tyson Fury because he won't be back ready in time, fitting up to face someone like Wilder, although he is looking in great shape at the moment. So why not take a £5 million payday and come fight Dylan White?
Yeah, no, and that's how I see it, and I think Wilder will be happy to, if he's fighting Ortiz and a Dillian White, I think he can only, while he won't deserve a 50-50 split, I think he will get the fans' respect in that much in he's fighting opponents. Again, it will be like, who does Joshua fight? If he takes on the Parker, which he is, and he beats him, he has that belt. Then let's just say, for example, the Fury fight happens next, which I do see a possibility. If Fury could get his act together, I do see that potentially happen at the later part of this year. You then say, well, who does Joshua then fight after Fury? It has to be Wilder. So I think that's Wilder's team might be saying, well, actually, if we become his only option, our negotiation becomes stronger. Do you see what I mean? Because at some point he will want that WBC belt, and he'll have to do what's necessary. And I think if Wilder gets 2 good performances against Ortiz and a Dillian White, his stock is high. If he can finish them quickly, then it's going to be interesting. I mean, what do you make of Tony Bellew's comments about Luis Ortiz and him giving props to Wilder for taking the fight? And we post some pictures of Ortiz, and he seems to be in much better shape. What do you think? Do you think Wilder, whatever happens, Wilder just needs to make the fight and no excuses, win or lose or draw?
Yeah, as long as he's beaten the person that's agreed to this fight. So after the fight, if he loses, he can't turn around and say, "Oh, he's jumped up." He can't say that because he's agreed to the fight beforehand, knowing that.
Yeah.
So he's felt that he can beat him beforehand. Plus, with a lot of people need to look more into the background of Ortiz's tests because there's quite a bit of back knowledge where I can't even remember the full details of it, but it isn't so cut and drawn as people think. It's quite a dodgy one. Like the last one, he didn't actually fail a test. He just didn't declare his medication. So you don't actually know whether he was juicing or not.
Yeah.
So
I think, and that's the problem. If that was his first offence, I think you're right, Paul. He might get the benefit of the doubt. I think it's because he had offended previously. He's always gonna, unfortunately, he's gonna be a victim of. Yeah. I can't even say a victim. His past crimes will haunt him in that sense. But I agree with you. I think you made the fight. You knew what was capable. I mean, obviously, I don't want him to get injured or anything, or seriously injured. He should come out fine. But my thing is, you knew what was happening, so you can't make no excuses. I don't think he will lose, but again, if he does, because Ortiz we know that he's a skilled fighter. So if he's in the shape, if he's got the ability to have his movement on point, because he could, when I say draw the fight out, he could just get it to like the 6th, 7th out rounds, and if he's kept his range well, and he's kept Deontay kind of on the back foot, but not allowing Deontay Wilder to even fight or throw punches on the back foot, he could just be, using his jab, keeping him at guard, and he could get to a points victory. I don't see that happening, but we always have to look at both sides of the coin. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting one. And what do you think of Easter Junior's fighting on? So this card, Spence Peterson, is a really good card, mate.
Yeah.
So you got Robert Easter Jr. fight facing Javier Fortuna. What do you think of that fight?
I think it's a bit of a foregone conclusion. I think Easter Jr. wins it quite comfortably because you've got Easter Jr.'s best win, Richard Comey, which is an excellent win.
Yeah.
At the time, Comey was undefeated. He looked quite unstoppable, and Easter Jr. beat him. But then you've got Fortuna, who's fought as low as 126, fighting now at 135.
Mm-hmm.
So is he going to be quite a small man in comparison to Easter Jr., who's a career lightweight, and probably could go up to light welter at some point as well.
Exactly, he definitely. I mean, they do call him the young Tommy Hearn, so yeah, you're more than fair in saying that. I think it's a good scrap. But I think for me, Robert Easter Jr. kind of needs to get his act together, have this fight. The Comey was a great fight. Real fan pleaser, but we forget that was in 2016 now. So I think he has to make this year, his year. There's a decent crop of fighters in his division. I think he needs to challenge for some of those other titles. I mean, it's as simple as that. So so that's going to be interesting. There's a chap called Marcus Brown coming in at light heavyweight. He's having a good fight. Fighting a guy Francis Ngannou. So that should be a decent scrap. So I'm really looking forward to that. And obviously you would have known the WA Intercontinental belt is now at stakes for the Okoli and Chamberlain fight. What do you think that? What do you think that was going to do to the evening, mate?
I think it just gives them I'm not normally a fan of the little trinket titles.
Yeah.
I think it just gives them both a bit more to reach for because they're both quite young, early on in the career, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting. And we know there's already neither there. They're not a fan of each other at all. So that's not needed. I just think it just adds a little bit of interest to me.
Yeah.
I don't think either should go into the world rankings with the win from it, but it's going to happen. But it's good. I can't wait to be there, to be honest.
I'm telling you, I was going to say, mate, can't wait to be there also, man. Definitely got to link up, have a few beers beforehand as well, and get to talk that down. So listen, mate, thank you very much for being part of the show today. It's been a pleasure as always. I appreciate all your support. For all the guys listening, don't forget rapsontv.com. It's where you can get all the articles, all the best discussions. Takes place in our group on Facebook. That's Raps on TV. Instagram is also Raps on TV. YouTube is also Raps on TV. So as usual, we're going to be here talking about boxing next week. But for now, check out Errol Spence Jr. versus Lamont Peterson, Box Nation, going down in Barclays, New York City. Paul, have a great evening, mate. Appreciate it.
You too, buddy. Enjoy
Cheers.
the rest of your
Take care. Cheers. Bye.